Good morning, everybody. Happy Easter. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm gonna be doing a spoken word today.
Let's go.
And it's called To Be Continued. You're probably thinking, what is that? What is that? But you know, one of the things I love is a good epilogue in a book. I don't know about you, but I like to see what happens after, right? And I don't know if you guys are Marvel fans, but I will sit in the theater until I get to see that final scene.
Right.
I need to know what is going to happen, right? And I thought about something about God, which is amazing, is that with God, there's always a part two.
Yeah.
Like we think things are going to end, that it's going to be over, but it's not over until God says it's over. And then I thought about today, Easter, and they thought it was over, y'all. God made it 3 days. He made it 3 days to come back, but he rose. And there was always going to be a part two.
Wow.
They thought it was over, but it wasn't over. And so I don't know if there's anything in your life that you think is over and that you need resurrected in your life, but I'm here to tell you that there's to be continued, okay? That there's always going to be a part two.
Wow.
And that's what inspired this spoken word. Okay. The scene was set for me like a battle on a movie screen. Shots were fired from the camp of the enemy. And he was a heartless foe, relentless. Satan is a crafty adversary, and he had plans. Plans that started at infancy, setting up a past that he could store up in my memories and bring to the surface at the perfect opportunity. He poked at every fear and insecurity, then introduced me to solutions and behaviors that would be a quick fix and make me feel good just enough for me to momentarily forget my troubles, but not enough for me to be free of them. Like Eve, he made the fruit look so good to me, made me question God's sovereignty. I mean, could the world really be that ugly when everyone looked so happy? He extracted my devotion, took my eyes off the truth. He knew the outcome of human devotion is always servitude. And eventually there wasn't much he had to do, because once I got comfortable in my cycles, I deceived myself and did all the work for him. I got entangled by my own unbelief and pride. I served my emotion and desires, convinced if it felt good, it must be right. I served people and pursued every trend, following the crowd in fear of their chastisement. Even if they walked off a cliff, I did. This left me exhausted, checked out, and incomplete. And like an arrow released from a bow, when I was weak, Satan threw the perfect swing. And I was thrown off my feet, falling into an open grave. And I lay there like a corpse, ready to throw my life away. It seemed like the battle was over. What the enemy didn't anticipate was that God moves in every space. That for me, the grave was only the beginning. Though my life seemed buried in a mess I couldn't shake loose, God wasn't through. There was a part two. I thought it was an end, but he was just getting started. Somehow we found beauty inside these ashes. And he took these dry bones and brought them to life. No, it's not all over till God says it's over. See, the Be Continued was set in motion at the beginning of time. God planned my rescue before I was alive. And in the midst of darkness, he wasn't afraid to get dirty. He reached into the grave, took hold of my hand, and upset the enemy's plan. He tore the idols I built in my heart, the ways of escape I embraced instead of my purpose. I was convinced they could fulfill me, but no matter how much I poured my life into them, I always ended up empty. No song lyrics or relationship, no dream job or universal acceptance could save me from the spiritual burial I found myself in. Only the power of God could free me from my coffin. So I relented and did a full 180, redirected my devotion to heaven, left the muddy grave of sin, and was buried in the fresh waters of baptism. I came up a new creation, no longer a casualty, but a champion. See, I thought it was an end, but he was just getting started. Somehow we found beauty inside these ashes. And he took these dry bones and brought them to life. No, it's not over. So God says it's over. See, yes, I was a conqueror because Jesus overcame first. 2,000 years ago when the enemy sought victory. He stood in the garden and watched as Jesus sweat blood from his brow and prayed for the cup to pass. He smiled with wicked glee as Judas betrayed him with a kiss. And the disciples fled and left him friendless. I'm sure Satan and his minions yelled in unison, "Crucify him!" as the crowd screamed, "He is not our king." And when Pilate agreed to put Jesus to death, he applauded in agreement at the death sentence. But did the enemy really think things are going according to his plans when the nails were driven through Christ's feet and his hands? Was he convinced he won when our Savior hung on a tree and cried out, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" Was Satan convinced of victory when Jesus gave his last breath and he was pierced in his side? Or was he shaking with rage because he knew there was a part two? That Jesus never succumbed to the pain. Despite being falsely accused, mocked, abandoned, and abused, he stayed on the cross until it was finished, becoming the perfect sacrifice so we can be born again. I'm sure he knew the battle was over when Jesus rose from the dead. In just 3 days, the stone was rolled away, and Jesus conquered the grave. Now, sin has no power in our lives unless you get it. And Satan is defeated. It's guaranteed. So stop giving him authority. Don't estimate the enemy, but don't let your fear of him paralyze you either. He is not an equal to God. God is greater, and he is our avenger. There is nothing or no one that can do what God does or fulfill you to the overflow like his one and only Son. And if there's anything in your life that you think might be dead, it can be resurrected. It's not over till it's over. So you can wait with expectation that your faith creates space for a miracle. You can dream again despite a failed attempt. You're not too far gone to be forgiven or too broken to be restored. Where you are today, this is not the end of your story. So be hopeful for tomorrow. What God started, he will finish. Because I thought it was the end, but he was just getting started. Somehow he makes beauty from all of our ashes. And he'll take our dry bones and bring them to life. No, it's not over till God says it's over.
Wow.